Let's get one thing straight right away. In the world of Naruto, true, absolute immortality, the kind of godlike eternal existence, simply doesn't exist. Sooner or later, everyone dies. From the legendary sage of six paths to the nearly omnipotent Kaguya, who, by the way, couldn't even be killed, she had to be sealed away. And yet, the fear of death keeps pushing shinobi into more and more extreme experiments. Throughout the history of the ninja world, there are 7 real ways to cheat death and extend your existence almost indefinitely. But here's the key thing, these methods are not equal. Some require horrific sacrifices, others strip away your humanity, and some literally turn you into a monster. Today, we're going to break them all down and rank them, from the absolute worst, something closer to a curse, all the way to what can only be described as a system glitch that grants near-true eternity.
We'll judge them based on 3 criteria: how difficult they are to achieve, the price you have to pay, and most importantly, how well they actually help you survive in a real fight. And we're starting from the very bottom. The first level, the worst way to achieve immortality. This is the path of Sasori of the Red Sand, turning yourself into a living puppet. Sasori is the only one who fully committed to this idea. Sure, his grandmother Chiyo once replaced her arm with a mechanism, but he went much further. He completely abandoned his human body, leaving behind only a small living core, and transferred his consciousness into a wooden construct. The philosophy is simple, and honestly, kind of beautiful. True art should be eternal. And in a way, Sasori achieved exactly that. He stopped aging. When he revealed his true form to Chiyo and Sakura, he looked exactly the same as he did the day he left his village 20 years earlier. No wrinkles, no fatigue, no illness. In theory, as long as his body can be repaired and maintained, he could exist forever. But there's one critical flaw. To preserve his consciousness and chakra, Sasori had to keep a living core, essentially his heart, sealed inside a cylindrical container. And that's exactly what makes him vulnerable. It's his Achilles heel. He didn't become a true machine. He became a cyborg with a single, critical weak point. Destroy that core, and he dies instantly, just like any normal human. Yes, he can transfer that heart between different puppet bodies, swapping shells like gloves. That gives him mobility and flexibility. But in a fight against a skilled opponent who knows this secret, like Chiyo and Sakura did, it becomes a death sentence. And there's another price to pay, a psychological one. You no longer feel pain, but along with it, everything else disappears. The taste of food, the warmth of touch, emotions. Life becomes empty. Sasori himself admitted it. He was no longer human, but not truly a puppet either. He was stuck somewhere in between, in a state of eternal apathy. The irony is that, in the end, he allowed himself to be killed, essentially surrendering, dying in the embrace of puppets modeled after his parents. This method is extremely complex, requires unique skill, and still leaves you mortal. That's why it rightfully takes last place. But the next method, even though it keeps your living body intact, is far more disturbing. Let's move one level up. The second method can be described in one word: parasite. This is the path of Orochimaru and his technique, living corpse reincarnation. Unlike Sasori, who tried to preserve himself, Orochimaru chose constant renewal. His technique allows him to transfer his soul and consciousness into another person's body, completely taking over a new host. It sounds almost perfect. Your old body wears out? Just take a new one, young, strong, healthy. On top of that, you gain the abilities of the host, including rare genetic techniques. That's exactly why Orochimaru hunted Kimimaro, and later Sasuke, for their unique powers. But in reality, it's far worse than it sounds. The first problem is instability. Bodies reject him. On average, a single host only lasts about 3 to 4 years. After that, the body begins to break down, it weakens, deteriorates, and Orochimaru is left in a near helpless state until he finds a new vessel. This isn't the life of an immortal, it's an addiction, a constant, desperate search for the next body. The second problem is the risk of the process itself. During the transfer, Orochimaru is extremely vulnerable, and we've already seen what can happen. Sasuke, using his Sharingan, was able to turn the technique against him and essentially trap Orochimaru inside his own consciousness. But Orochimaru always has a backup plan: cursed seals. Each of these marks contains a portion of his chakra and consciousness. In a way, they function like backups. Even if his body is destroyed and his soul is sealed, like when Itachi used the Totsuka blade, Orochimaru can still be brought back. For example, by using the chakra stored in a seal along with someone else's body, just like Kabuto did. But let's be honest, this isn't real life. Existing as a backup, hidden inside someone else's body, waiting for someone to bring you back, that's a miserable existence. That's not immortality, that's parasitism. You're not living, you're surviving. That's why, despite how hard he is to kill, Orochimaru's method remains dirty, unstable, and degrading. It's an endless chase for new bodies that never brings peace. Now, on the third level, we have a method that looks far more practical, almost engineered. This is Kakuzu's technique, Earth Grudge Fear, extending life by using other people's hearts. Unlike Orochimaru, Kakuzu doesn't need to replace his entire body. He only needs to swap out individual organs, mainly hearts. His body is made up of black threads. This method allowed him to live for nearly a century. He fought against the first Hokage, survived multiple eras, and remained in excellent condition right up until his encounter with Naruto. The biggest advantage here is combat effectiveness. Each heart gives him access to the chakra nature of its previous owner. With multiple hearts, Kakuzu can use several elemental styles at a high level. On top of that, these hearts can separate from his body and fight independently, becoming almost separate entities. That makes him an extremely dangerous opponent, especially in a one-on-one fight. But this system has an obvious weakness. All of his hearts are expendable. Destroy them, and he loses lives one by one. That's exactly what happened in battle. Kakashi destroyed one heart with Raikiri, and Naruto, using Rasen Shuriken, managed to destroy several at once, damaging his entire chakra system. And this is where the problem becomes clear. Against truly powerful opponents, this method doesn't guarantee survival. On top of that, Kakuzu is forced to constantly hunt. To stay alive, he has to kill and harvest new hearts. Without that, his body simply can't function. This isn't immortality, it's a constant war just to keep existing. That's why this method sits right in the middle of the ranking. It's effective, it's practical, but it doesn't grant true eternity, only a delay. The fourth level is something completely different. Here, immortality stops being science and becomes something mystical. This is Hidan's path, devotion to the god Jashin. If the previous methods could be explained through logic, twisted as it may be, this one is pure religion, or a curse. The mechanics of this power are never fully explained. We don't know exactly what rituals are required or what conditions must be met, but the result is clear. Hidan's body cannot be killed by conventional means. He's been decapitated and kept talking. He's been torn apart and still remained alive. Physical destruction simply doesn't work on him. Unlike Kakuzu, he doesn't need replacement organs. Unlike Orochimaru, his body doesn't deteriorate over time. This is a stable form of physical immortality. Sounds perfect, right? But there's a catch. This immortality is conditional. Hidan is not free. His life is directly tied to his devotion to Jashin. He must perform rituals, inflict pain on himself and others, and make sacrifices. This isn't a choice, it's an obligation. If he stops, the contract is broken. On top of that, there's evidence that he's still vulnerable to exhaustion. If you immobilize him, prevent him from moving, eating, or performing rituals, he can effectively die. That's exactly why Shikamaru's strategy of isolating him worked. So we get a paradox. You can't kill him directly, but you can shut him down by removing the conditions he needs to exist. Which means his immortality isn't absolute. It's not freedom, it's dependence. An eternal servitude where you must kill in order to keep living. That's why, despite how impressive it looks, this method stays in the middle of the ranking. Powerful, but limited by conditions that turn a gift into a form of slavery. The fifth level is where things finally start to look clean. This is the first truly elegant method of extending life. We're talking about the power of the Rinnegan, specifically the Path of Pain, which allows the user to absorb chakra and essentially restore and rejuvenate their own body. We first saw the true potential of this method through Nagato during the Fourth Great Ninja War. When he was reanimated, he returned in a severely weakened state, a frail, almost lifeless body, barely able to move. But the moment he grabbed Killer Bee and started absorbing his chakra, everything changed. His body literally came back to life before our eyes. His hair turned bright red again, his muscles filled out, and he regained a state close to his physical prime. And that's the core of this method. You don't need to transplant organs like Kakuzu. You don't need to switch bodies like Orochimaru. You don't have to abandon your humanity like Sasori, or serve a dark god like Hidan. All you need is a source of chakra. In practice, it works like an infinite battery. Feeling old or weakened? Find a strong opponent, absorb their energy, and restore your body. You can repeat this process over and over again. Yes, it's still somewhat parasitic, but it doesn't destroy your identity, and it doesn't require constant, complex preparation. It's straightforward, efficient, and most importantly, extremely reliable in combat, because chakra absorption both heals and defends at the same time. There's only one problem. You need the Rinnegan, and that's a god-tier ability available to only a handful of individuals. For the vast majority of shinobi, it's simply unattainable. But if you have it, dying of old age is no longer a concern. And this is where we cross the line, where immortality stops being a trick and starts approaching something close to divine power. The sixth level isn't just about extending life anymore. It's about evolving into an entirely different form of existence. This is the state of becoming the 10 Tails Jinchūriki.
the vessel of the Jubi. This was the ultimate goal of the Akatsuki, and especially Madara Uchiha.
To reach this level, you have to achieve something nearly impossible. Gather all the tailed beasts, summon the Gedo statue, and seal the original source of chakra within yourself. The difficulty is beyond extreme, but the result changes everything. Once someone becomes the Jubi's vessel, they stop being a normal shinobi. They become something comparable to the Sage of Six Paths. Their power source is no longer external, it's internal. There's no need to hunt, transplant organs, or absorb chakra from others. Regeneration reaches an entirely new level. The body can recover from almost any damage, and the chakra reserves become overwhelming. And the ultimate proof of this is Kaguya. Even her own sons, despite their immense power, couldn't kill her. The only thing they managed to do was seal her. That's the key point. A being at this level cannot be physically destroyed, only contained. At first glance, this seems like perfect immortality. But even here, there's a catch. You become the #1 target in the entire world. The strongest forces unite against you, and in the end, you can still be taken down, even if not killed directly. And now, the top of the list, the 7th level. This is the ultimate cheat code, a system-breaking glitch that ignores the rules of the world itself. Madara Uchiha's method, becoming an Edo Tensei, and then breaking the summoner's control. During the war, when Itachi forced Kabuto to release the reanimation jutsu, all the resurrected shinobi began to disappear. But Madara did something impossible. He knew the hand seals of the technique, and while already in a reanimated body, he simply severed the contract with the summoner. So what did that give him? He remained in the world of the living, while keeping all the advantages of the dead. He can't be killed, because he's already dead. His body regenerates from any damage, even complete destruction. He has infinite chakra. No need to rest, recover, or conserve energy. And most importantly, he's completely free. Unlike every previous method, he has no weak points. No dependence on bodies, organs, rituals, or external energy sources. He doesn't serve anyone, and he isn't bound by any conditions. The only way to stop him is powerful sealing. In essence, this is the closest thing to true immortality in the world of Naruto, a state where you become a constant that simply cannot be erased. And that's why many believe that when Madara later revived himself for real, he actually became weaker, because a living body can still be destroyed. Now here's the question for you. Which path would you choose? Become a cold puppet? Live as a parasite, jumping from body to body? Or achieve a form that cannot be destroyed? Write your choice in the comments. It'll be interesting to see what most people pick.